अस्सलामुअलैकुम अज़ीज़ तलबा और तालबात। मुझे उम्मीद है कि पहला लेक्चर आपने दिलचस्पी के साथ सुना होगा, आपको अच्छा लगा होगा और कुछ सीखा होगा। मैं कोशिश करूँगा कि आज का लेक्चर भी दिलचस्प और आपको अच्छी मालूमात फराहम करे। आज का मौजू कल्चर एंड पर्सनैलिटी है। कल्चर एंड पर्सनैलिटी, these two very important concepts of human relations are significant to understand the subject we are trying to learn through this course. Culture is something like a factory, rather a group of factories which produce different types of individuals. The way different factories produce different products, similarly, culture produce different kinds of individuals to do different types of jobs in different situations, as different products satisfy different needs of different individuals in different situations. To give you a definition or a formal definition of culture, I like to read that definition to you, and then I'll try to explain more about the concept of culture. Then I'll talk about later on personality and try to establish a relationship between these two very important concepts to understand human relations in everyday life, in work life, in public life, and in private life. So let me read that definition, which is actually given by a very renowned anthropologist, Edward Tyler. The definition is, culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, beliefs, art, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. Now, this definition tells you that there are so many capabilities which are actually inculcated in a human being through acculturation, through the process of living in a society, in a culture. It says knowledge. Knowledge actually is a capability. You know something, what to do in a particular situation. Secondly, art, how to do different things. Beliefs. Would you say Assalamu Alaikum to an elderly person? Would you give a seat to a woman standing in a bus? What would you do? These are all learnings, beliefs, knowledge, art, how to go about and handle different situations in different places. These capabilities of human beings are diverse. You learn a lot from culture, which makes you learn to do different things in different situations. Suppose you see a little child in trouble, whether he or she is your child or somebody else's child. You try to help that person. Who tells you to do that? Let me tell you, this is culture. This culture, as I gave you the formal definition, it actually empowers you. It actually makes you a capable machine to do different things in different situations. Here, I like to bring another important concept, that cultures are becoming more and more complex due to many reasons. One of the reasons is that cultures are getting into contact with each other. There is globalization, there is international travel, there is international contact. People learn different values, different things, different ways of doing things from different cultures. Globalization is doing more and more that with more and more speed. Now, that is creating new complexities in our cultures. And probably we can say that new subcultures are emerging in various cultures. Like our own culture, you can say there are different cultures in Pakistan, Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan, Sarhad. They have different cultures. And similarly, there are subcultures within provinces. South Punjab versus Central Punjab versus North Punjab. But at the same time, within these subcultures, people are learning different things, different values from different people across the world. Some people travel to the United Kingdom, some people travel to the United States, some people travel to South Asia, East Asia. They learn different things. They learn different ways of doing things. Now, these capabilities are creating diversity in our people, in our culture, in our value system, in our social system, in our subcultures. Now, on account of that, it is becoming more and more important and difficult to understand these situations, and then trying to, after assessing the situation, then trying to take an action, an appropriate action. It is becoming more and more difficult. That is why we are trying to learn the significance of human relations, because it is not as simple to interact with other people as it used to be in the past. That is why this university has decided to offer this course for better understanding of people, to relate with other human beings who are different from yourself, and thereby accepting them the way they are, and then probably making a team or a group to achieve a certain task. And it has become more and more important, as I said before in this lecture and also in the previous one, that this capability of human beings is becoming more and more important, and we have to learn this capability. And let me emphasize the same thing in a different way. If you understand a situation, a person well, you can probably decide about reaction or an action or getting something done from the other person if your assessment about the situation is accurate. If you cannot assess the situation, if you cannot assess the person well, you won't be able to take the right action. You see, what happens that these complexities of life, making it difficult for managers to make people work in a particular direction, in a particular way, getting more work or optimum work done from a person. If a manager, if a supervisor understands a person or group of persons well, he can probably make those people work more efficiently, more effectively. Different people act differently for giving different values to different things. For example, it is possible that few people value their respect in the organization much more than let's say, monetary reward. I know monetary reward, financial rewards are very important because you have to meet certain needs of yours, and then you can think of valuing respect as something which motivates you. But let me tell you, some people, probably they have enough money in their families where they come from, and they might value the respect which is given to them in the organization where they're working. So if you understand that this individual respects more of the or value the respect more than the money itself, probably he will work harder if you provide respect in the organization by his juniors or even seniors, then he will work probably harder. But if you ask him, okay, here is a little bit more money, work, he might not devote that much energy to the assignment you are giving to that individual. On the other hand, I would say that if a person is relatively poor, he needs or she needs money to meet his or her basic needs. In that case, if a manager, if a superior rewards the person with more money, he or she will be motivated. Now, these are complexities of the situation. If you understand an individual well, it is possible that you will make that individual work well. Now, I like to share some specific concepts related with today's lecture, which will be used through the lecture and also maybe later on in the forthcoming lectures. These concepts are significant to understand this subject and also the development of personality in particular situations or in our own culture. The first concept, what I like to mention, is subculture. Now, this definition, subculture, is a set of people with distinct sets of behaviors and beliefs that differentiate them from a larger culture of which they are a part. Now, when I say this definition, this actually tells you that in a given culture, there are different subcultures or smaller cultures or part cultures which actually impart different capabilities to its members. In other words, subculture helps in producing relatively different individuals compared with, let's say, another subculture. Youth is a subculture. Drivers community is a subculture. Bureaucrats, army officers, educators, ruralites, urbanites, all sorts of different groups or even regions, they have different cultures. And as I said, culture imparts a capability to do few things. Another subculture imparts a capability in terms of beliefs, arts, knowledge, and these things, which produce those sort of individuals who are capable of doing things differently in different areas. For example, once again, in rural areas, people have different knowledge, different beliefs, different values, and they have different capabilities to do many things in that agriculture area, for example. On the other hand, in an urban area, there are people who could do different things, who have different capabilities. Once again, in urban area and in rural area, Once again, there may be some subcultures of youth, of elderly, of children, of women in urban area and in rural area. Now, these different subcultures of women, of elderly, of children, of youth, they have different ways of doing things. Elderly may have more wisdom, but the youth may have more energy. The youth can do different things because of their own, you can say that they are brave. Now, on account of that, they can do few things with more energy compared with the elderly people. But elderly people, on the other hand, they have a different culture. They have seen the world. They have spent, they have life, and they can probably advise the youth how to do few things. So, subculture, once again, produces different types of capabilities among its members. Now, let me share another concept which actually influence, once again, different individuals. This is social system, I would say. Social system is a pattern of social acts through which personal and collective goals are achieved. The needs of individuals and groups are also governed by the pertinent social system to maintain its own structure or shape. As I explained, drivers, executives, educators, army, women, children, all these groups, they have different social systems which shape their actions, which tell them this is right, this is wrong. Don't do it, do it. Now, this particular thing which tells individuals is that, first I said subculture, now the social system. If you do something wrong, that social system, that subculture, it sensitizes you. You are on the wrong track. This is not going to be approved. If you are lying, maybe some people will say that this is, system will check you. You have lied. This is not a good thing. If you hurt somebody, system will check you. Why did you do that? That's not a good thing. And when this is done to you as an individual in a social system, you learn how to act or behave in particular situations, what to do, what not to do. Now, what is happening? Actually, I will come to this concept again, that your person is being built. Who is building it? Your culture and its different artifacts, its subsystems, its subcultures, its the entities which are part of the culture. So, I will move on to another concept, and that is social group. Social group is an aggregate of people that live or work together and in some ways depends on each other for its well-being. Now, this social group, relatively a smaller number of individuals who interact with each other more frequently than, let's say, in a subculture or in a bigger situation. These social groups actually impart certain traits in individuals. Some people are aggressive, others are submissive, some are friendly, the others are unfriendly, some are cooperative, others are not cooperative. So, how these traits of individuals are inculcated? Who does that? Now, various situations help develop such traits in an individual for the development of personality. But social groups with which individuals interact more frequently than, let's say, with the larger culture, that is how certain traits are inculcated in individuals. Let's say, if I am in interaction with my colleagues more frequently, more intensely, that is my social group within which I spend most of my time. my values, my ways of doing things, my way of thinking will depend a lot or maybe influenced a lot by my colleagues or the social group within which I spend my time. So this is an important source of influence on an individual in terms of acquiring certain traits or characteristics of an individual. Now, traits and characteristics, I will come back to this point later on. This is basically a power. A personality is actually a power, a force to do few things. Some people have more power to do one thing, others may have lesser. And another group may have power to do these things more effectively than these things. As I explained before, that an army officer, he knows how to fight. He has much more knowledge, information, capability to fight on borders or elsewhere. He knows security issues much more than, let's say, myself as an educator. But at the same time, I may have some other knowledge or capabilities more than an army officer. So this is my capability which is useful, let's say, here. And if maybe an army man who knows how to fight, who knows how to use guns, armaments, if he is brought here to do what I'm doing, probably he won't be able to do it. Similarly, if you ask me, go and operate a tank or F-16, I won't be able to do it. So that is why culture, subculture, social groups, subgroups, peer groups, which I will come to that concept later, all these things, they develop certain types of capabilities in individuals to do some specific tasks. Now, let me go to the next concept. This is peer group. Peer group is a subgroup of a society in which membership is determined by similarity of age, sharing the same social status, and some other similar characteristics or values. A circle of close friends actually inculcate very intimate values, intimate capabilities, intimate beliefs. Those beliefs, those values, those aadat ya those habits which actually are part and parcel of your person. Another concept, much more important than the ones I have shared with you, that is family. This institution of family is the most significant one. I will tell you the reasons. Now, first let me give you the definition of family. Family is a social institution comprising two or more individuals who share goals and values, have long-term commitments to one another, and usually reside in the same dwelling. Family contributes much more to an individual's personality than other things, for a reason. The reason is that personality is a sum total of the life he or she has spent in the environment and the genes. The genes come from parents, the family. So that is why the sum total of genes and environment both play an important role towards the development of an individual or his or her personality. So that is why family is important. The importance of family also lies in the fact that personality forming years, like the childhood, first 3, 4, 5 years, those are virtually totally spent within the family. And many of the characteristics of a person are inculcated during these forming years, the childhood again. Moreover, After childhood, when you start going to school, you also spend a lot of your time with family, with your mother, with your father, with your brothers and sisters if they are there, the siblings. Now, the time you spend with family, that has a very important role, the most significant role in the building of the person. So family remains a cardinal institution, social institution, which inculcate most of the capabilities from the culture, because family itself is part of that culture. Family itself has acquired many of the capabilities from the culture, and those capabilities are transferred to their children at different stages of life. In other words, your habits, your ways of doing and seeing things are based on your family, which gives you these capabilities. I'd like to add to that, that after, like while family is doing all these things, family is actually shaping the personality of the child. When the person or the child start going to school or plays with the peer group in the mohalla or in the street or in a playground, now these institutions are entities, social entities like peer group, social group, the school, street, the public life. They start influencing the child as well. Now, the interaction of public life with the values and the totality of the person acquired from family through genes and different sorts of trainings, it actually develops a person. Now, when that person develops, then it actually starts acquiring certain special characteristics to do different things, either more efficiently or more effectively, depending upon the nature of personality. One person may be a good salesman because of his or her traits and characteristics of the person. The other person may be a good worker on the desk. Another person may be a good thinker. Another person could be a good writer. Another person could do hard physical jobs. Another person could be a good strategic planner. Now, these things are acquired through life experiences, through different training, through education, through occupation, but these are built on the capabilities acquired from the fundamental institution that is called family. Now, let me move on to the next part, where I will try to link culture and personality with more emphasis in a sort of formal way, sort of giving a definition which is a formal definition, and then I'll try to explain more on that, and later on I move to the personality part of the lecture, and to conclude how culture and personality are linked and how that person ultimately does things for his or her own purpose or objectives, and also for achieving the collective goals of the groups he is member of or she is member of, like family or the society wherever he or she is living or part of. So if I like to say that the culture and personality are linked in, it's basically a study of culture and personality that seeks to understand the growth and development of personal or social identity as it relates to the surrounding social environment. In other words, through the examination of an individual or looking at an individual or talking to an individual, seeing an individual, you can probably make a guess or you can make an assessment that where from this person has come from. For example, as Pakistanis go to the Western world, many times they immediately make an assessment that the person is from Pakistan or India. Yes, they sometimes confuse between India and Pakistan, that you may be labeled as a Pakistani or Indian. You can make a judgment that the person is Japanese, Chinese, an American, a British, an Italian. Similarly, within Pakistan, you can immediately judge most of the time that this person is Pathan, this person is Punjabi, this person is Sindhi. Now, how do you make a judgment? That is because of the relationship between culture and personality. What sort of person is produced in NWFP? What sort of person is produced in Punjab? What sort of person looks like from Sindh or from Balochistan? You can make a distinction. Now, this is what the relationship is between culture and personality. This is probably will be the focus to the next part of the lecture. As I have explained that personality is a product, is a development of a person in a particular context, in a particular culture, in a particular situation, in a particular environment. In layman terms, when I say personality, a person, a different person, I feel that a person is a power, is a force to do special things, to do different things differently. To me, as I explained before, that different persons are different products of cultures, subcultures, social groups, peer groups, and the fundamental institution of family. Now, those varying capabilities of persons is significant for employers, for organizations, for those who want to use the capabilities of different individuals to do different things. Now, if you understand this concept, this particular aspect of or characteristic of an individual, which is useful for a organization or an organization, may not be useful for another organization. So, it is actually a happy match which is needed, that a person who has certain types of capabilities is required by an organization A, then both organization and the person will be a happy match, and there may be a win-win situation. The person is happy, the organization is happy. The person is satisfied, the organization is satisfied. But if an organization is looking for an individual, let's say, whose English language capabilities are, for that organization, let's say, English language capabilities are very important, and the person somehow doesn't have that much or that good command on the language, obviously that organization will not value the individual. So it will not be a happy match. Probably that person could go and work somewhere else rather than in this organization, which is looking for an individual who have good command on the English language, let's say in both spoken and written forms or something. On the other hand, it is quite possible that an organization looks for an individual who knows or who has a command on a local language. The person who knows, let's say, Urdu, may be highly desirable for an organization in Japan who is teaching Urdu language. And in case that person knows Japanese language, he will be considered as a gem. But on the other hand, if he has these two capabilities, like knowing Japanese and Urdu in Pakistan, it may not be as useful for this culture as it may be for Japanese culture, unless these two subjects are being taught in an organization or something. So what I'm trying to emphasize is that a person who has certain capabilities will be useful for that organization who is looking for such characteristics or qualities of that particular individual. Now, this is what I am trying to emphasize, that how culture shapes different persons in different individuals. And now those different persons are needed in different organizations. And it is up to the individual to find the right organization for his or her individual specific capabilities. If you are successful in doing that, you will be a successful worker, officer, individual in an organization, and ultimately for the society whose you are a member. Now let me move on to another concept, that is your intelligence, that is your IQ, that is your overall understanding of the things. If you are intelligent, you can pick up things quickly, you can understand things quickly, you can read quickly, you have ample amount of words or vocabulary around some subject, around some area, in some area, maybe in different subjects, physics, chemistry, IT, your camera, anything. Now, all these things are different capabilities. How do you acquire those capabilities? Your IQ, your intelligence. If you are intelligent, you will pick up these things rather more readily, quickly. And then you will accumulate more and more knowledge in a given period of time. That means if you are intelligent, you can acquire more knowledge in a given period of time, 1 hour, 2 hours, 10 days, month, 2 months, 3 months. At times, an individual is employed in an organization and he or she is on a probation period, 3 months, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. Why do they give this probation period? The reason is they want to judge you how quickly you learn. The traits which are valuable or which are valued by that organization. Now, your IQ, your intelligence will play a significant role there, because you will observe, you will be told to learn, you will see what is happening, you will pick up few things here and there, and if you could pick up those things more quickly compared with another individual, you will be valued more, let's say, compared with that individual, and you will be rewarded more in different ways and means, and that probably will assure a successful career for yourself, and the organization will benefit from your capabilities. So there is a strong relationship between your intelligence, your IQ, and learning itself is a capability of yours to do few things. Here, I like to emphasize again, in today's organization, diversity is there. There are different sorts of people. As I explained in the previous lecture, it is easy to press a button of a machine, the machine will work. But if there are diverse types of individuals in an organization, they probably will not work if you are monotonous in terms of dealing with them. If you have only one way of dealing and asking or requesting or ordering things to be done from them. Now this makes it hard in today's world because organizations have diverse kind of persons. As I told you before, that due to complexity of culture, due to the prevalence of different subcultures, different sort of individuals, different kinds of individuals, diverse individuals are produced by society, and that is how organizations do have different people working within them. If you look at this scenario, and this scenario is that you are now employed in an organization, and the organization have variety of people, less educated, highly educated, medium level of education, technical people, people who know IT business a lot, people who come from rural background, people who come from posh urban background, people who have different values, different ways of doing things or looking at various entities. It makes it hard for any individual as a worker or as a superior manager. It becomes hard. Why? Because what you have to do, you have to get work done from different types of people. It is not as easy that if you request or give an order to an individual, he or she is going to do it. It's not that easy, it's not that simple. It used to be in the past, but not anymore. Now people question things. Now people see things differently because they are different persons. I will probably cover this aspect of variation or personality development or getting things done from different people. That is, the concept is perception. How do you see a thing differently? Like how different people see one thing differently. Why do they have different angles on the same thing? I will talk about that in another lecture. I'll talk about that more. But when different people look at the thing differently, they will not be as moved to do the same thing as you probably wish them to. So that is why it becomes difficult. And that is why human relations as a subject is becoming more and more popular and important in today's organizations. If you can assess the situation and the mood of the person and the personality of the person, and you say or request or order the person in an appropriate way, the job will be done. You have to understand this thing. Now this is actually the key to the development of human relations that you can appreciate such variation, such diversity, and act accordingly or do things accordingly. Let me move on to the next part. I think I did share different personality traits, and these traits I like to tell you, and you will see on the screen as well. These traits, if you are aware about these traits, and then you can adjust yourself with the situation, you probably will get things done. Let me read out some of those to you. Personality traits include: the person is outgoing or reserved, an extrovert or an introvert, tender-minded, tough-minded, is shrewd or forthright, is formal or informal, happy or sober, aggressive, passive, stable, emotional, high intelligence, low intelligence, imaginative, practical. There are many traits which can be associated with different individuals. And these traits, if you understand those traits, one, and secondly, you could associate some of those traits with the individual you are interacting with, then you can probably make the assessment appropriately, accurately, and then you will act accordingly, which will probably be conducive to do what you want to do. So this field of human relations, or this field of interactions among individuals or between individuals, this is challenging in today's world. And this challenging job pays well as well, because, as I said before, this is becoming more difficult because cultures are becoming complex and difficult to understand. Now, a few words on types of persons. And I like to read, there are two types of person, type A and type B. The type A personality is characterized as fast-moving, time-conscious, comparative, impatient, and preoccupied with work. On the other hand, type B personality is the opposite of type A, which is commonly associated with stress. Type A personality usually is liked by today's organizations, because type A persons take the challenge, like to do things, take stress, take pressure, and keep on doing things, keep on taking challenges. This aspect of type A personality makes them more successful in life. However, they take few pressures as well, and they like to perform as compared to type B persons. There are several other concepts which are associated with the different types of people. People who feel more about other people, people who are sort of thinkers. Some people feel more, they are more emotional. Some people think more, they are less emotional. People who feel, they are more friendly compared with those who are thinkers. Now, these things, if you understand them, then you have certain more capabilities than other individuals. Some people do more things. Some people are doers, others are observers, spectators. Depending upon what sort of person an organization is looking for, probably it is good for you to be honest and tell the employers that what sort of person you are. There are certain introverts, extroverts in organization. Generally, organizations look for people who are extroverts. But at times, if you have a thinking job, if you have to do some thinking work, maybe introverts are okay. How personality affects behavior, human relations, and performance. Now, human behavior, performance, and personality, these are intricately linked. If you can understand a personal style of an individual and traits well, you can often predict how that person will behave in a particular situation. If you understand that this person has these type of traits and he or she is going to act in this particular direction in a given situation, you can probably act accordingly and you will have good relations with the individual and that person will work for you or work with you happily. With these words, I like to say Allah Hafiz, फिर मिलेंगे.